Hello, I'm live. I get it now. I see the timer. I'm live. I hope everyone is I'm gonna wait a little bit for people to come in. I'm gonna you hear the church bells? I don't know if you can hear them. Okay, there we go. It was really funny, and I'm not gonna lie. There's one sign where when I started because I've been working on your November forecasts, and it is going to be a month. But there was one time when I started your recording, the church bells started going off. It's really funny because I live between a fire station and a church, so you can sometimes hear both in the readings. But hello, everybody. Hope you're doing well this Sunday. Well, if you're in the north, like here, it's Sunday. I know everyone's like all over the world, but I hope you're having a great weekend. The weekend's finishing up for a lot of people, but I'm very excited because we have a lunar eclipse this week, and we'll talk a little bit about that before we, if you have any questions, before we move on to November. I'm really excited to tell you like what November is going to be like, the really good days to look out for, and some days that are going to be really challenging. I am going to let you know. I don't know if you saw, I did a 3-month preview, 3-month ahead forecast. And if you saw that, you know that I said November out of the 3 months is the most like, it's like, but we'll get to it. We'll get to it. Who's coming in? Hello, Jean. How are you doing? Samantha. Hi, Karen. Hello, everyone. Good morning, everybody. I feel like y'all are mostly then on the on the west side. Then, if it's morning for y'all, I hope everyone's been having a great weekend. I want to know too if anything's happened for anyone during the solar eclipse that we had last week. Or no, I'm sorry. Wait, what day is it? Yeah. Last it was on the 14th, or the weekend of the 14th. That was huge. And so we are now moving toward the lunar eclipse. So there's going to be some endings, things that are going to culminate for some people. There's going to be some surprises for some people. I'm not going to lie, there's going to be some surprises. This full moon lunar eclipse is in Taurus, and Uranus, the planet of surprises, is in Taurus. So yay, we'll see what's going on there. Hello, Amy. Great to see you. Anyone have Diana, you're getting married. Yes, that's amazing. I love it. Congratulations. That's so great. And y'all, I love it when y'all leave messages, because I always say it in these live streams, like I don't because it's like 12 signs, it comes out to like 1,000, 2,000 messages a week, and it's just like I wish I could respond to everybody. I do the best I can. I do the best I can. I try, but I love hearing it when people and there was a lot of like people getting new jobs, people having babies, people starting new lives, moving, getting married. I love hearing all this, so it's really great. It's really great. And it's also really nice for me to know what's when people are big focuses that that are happening in their life. I always love it when it aligns with the things that I'm saying. So never hesitate to leave comments, because I read them, and I really it just it inspires me a lot too. Congrats, everything. So everyone, yeah. So anyone have any eclipse stories? Anything happen during eclipses? I know for me, with that new moon solar eclipse, I just got really busy, extraordinarily busy. A lot of new things happening, which maybe I'll talk about in like a later thing. But things have been happening, but it really is just like the intensity of like, we're just about to go into Scorpio season. Y'all know that, right? So, away as today, or you know what? Let's just say safely today, tomorrow. It's going to be a big. It's like things are just going to get. Everyone's going to get really like things are going to be really intense. In terms of like your passions and the things that you want. Jean, you left a job. Oh, you talked to Susan King twice. I love that. And Susan, okay, so yeah, because Jean, by the way, has been with me for a long time. I love it. I feel like we're buds here, and she did get a private reading with me when I was doing private readings. When you gave me readings a year ago, and Susan read the same thing. Wow! So there you go. That's really amazing. That's some nice alignment there. And it's so funny. I was thinking about the next guest that I was gonna. I'm not gonna ruin any surprises, but there is gonna be another guest. FYI, that I think that y'all will really like. Diana, the lunar eclipse is on your birthday. Wow, that's gonna be big. That's gonna be big. I have a friend who's the lunar eclipse is gonna be on his birthday too, and everything. Remember, I said there's a lot of progression here with these eclipses. You may feel things like progressing in a certain direction. A lot of it's just like maybe subtle, but he had Scorpio, and he had gone through a lot of ups and downs, a lot of downs, okay, a lot of downs the past year. But then things started lifting up for him, and with this eclipse, like a lot of big things happened: engagement, moving in together, getting a big business deal that he had been wanting, like really great things happening. So that eclipse is just kind of like that's coming up is like that one chapter of his life is closing, and he's now moving into this new chapter with living with buying a place, and buying a place in New York is like it's a big deal, right? It's a really big deal. And then just all these other great things happening for him. So it's really just like one, we're closing one chapter, entering another. So Diana, you're going to have a big change in your life, big shift in your life. Ed, Jen Marie, it's your birthday on the 24th in 2 days. Happy birthday. That's amazing. I love it. Things fell into place to celebrate family on the 28th. I love that. I really love that. Gosh, Karen, your birthday's on the 20th. There's a lot of Scorpios here. Wow, I love that. That's crazy. Scorpios, I just finished your reading. If you are a Scorpio, I got to double check here. I'm so close to finishing all of them that they're again going to be long readings. November is, even though there's less aspects than we've been having the past few months, they're powerful aspects, and we're coming out of these eclipses. And so it's so funny for me to see specific patterns that arise in everyone's readings. There's always something thematic, and it is really everyone's going through this rebirth or this new beginning or some new chapter in their life, and of course that's going to happen after the eclipses. So I'm very excited for everyone, and I do that a lot too. I look back to see around like May, like the Wheel of Fortune card came up a lot in a lot of people's readings, like like in April, May, and in November there's a certain card that came up, and of course I'm going to try to do this without ruining anything about anyone's readings for November, but there was a certain card that came up in everybody's readings. But it's very interesting. It's very interesting. Everyone is going through some major change. Remember, we are moving into Scorpio season, and that is a lot of change. A lot of change, a lot of rebirth energy, renewal. That's a lot of transformation. It's cycles in life. It's but it's also power. It's also empowerment. It's also, like I said, like intimacy. It's there's a lot happening in Scorpio season. I like Scorpio season. I love Scorpio season, and then I love it when we move into Sagittarius season. But there's some things that are going to happen where I'm just like, okay, you're going to want to keep this in mind, okay? Keep this in mind. So happy birthday to everybody that's here. And Gene, congratulations for leaving a job. Gene, you're a Gemini too. You're a double Gemini. So that makes sense. And I think I said this in your readings, but Gemini's, like, I know y'all been going through it. There's been a lot going on. Just wait. Ooh, just wait until next year. You have no idea. You have no idea. You have absolutely no. And we have a full moon in your sign next week. Or I'm sorry, next month. Yeah, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. Okay, all these birthdays. Jen, you said the Libra eclipse wasn't too bad in comparison to the Scorpio eclipse. This eclipse was a cakewalk. Yes, these eclipses were a lot nicer than the eclipses that we've had in the past. But you have to look at the other aspects that are happening too. And then, remember the nodal shifts too. So these are, part of the nodal shifts. The North Node moving into Aries, South Node moving into Libra. So we're really moving into this new kind of era where it's a lot of its focus will be on, partnerships, relationships. But Aries is like the I am of the zodiac, right? And then Libra is the we. So it's like how you fit in, not only like society, but in your, orbit, like your squad. It's a whole other thing that I don't want to like get into now because I want to get to I want to tell you what's going on for November. But does anybody have any questions so far? Any big questions that I can answer? Oh, Leslie. It's good to see you. Leslie, you just got back from an epic London trip. Very excited. That was, I don't know if, I think that I don't know if I told y'all, but like the company that I work for is based in London. So I go there every year for our big meetings. I love London. I love it over there. Okay, so y'all, November. Doug, first of all, does anybody have an idea of what November is going to be like? I want you to tell me. If you have an idea of what November is going to be like, I want you to guess. Well, okay. You know what? I did this thing where I did. Oh shoot, my microphone. Sorry. Oh my gosh. Can you hear me now? I feel like I do that all the time. Because I do your readings. When I do your readings, I have to flip my entire computer facing that way. So because I have a table over there, so the microphone is always over there. Shoot. I'm sorry. I hope you can hear me better now. Does that even make a difference? Like, is this because I know this is like a very powerful mic. Okay, so I asked if anyone knows what November is going to be like. Jen Marie, you said noisy. Samantha, massive transformation. Jen Marie, you say intense. Leslie, you say this whole year has been crazy. Well, you're a Libra, right? So of course, there's a very big transformative year for Libras. Jen, big changes, positive changes, absolutely. Okay, so y'all can hear. Okay. Karen, you just refocused on a book you started a while ago. That's good. I love it. Good for you. A lot of people learned a lot during the retrogrades, and that's how I'm going to kick off what November is going to be like. Listen, here's the thing. We just came out of believe it or not, if you look back to what happened, and I'm going to bring this up in the December forecast as well when we do this next month. If you think back to what happened this year, there was a lot of big changes. With Saturn moving into Pisces. That was a huge thing. Pluto moving into Aquarius, even though it was just for a short time. You got like a preview of what's to come for 2024. We had the changing of the nodes. And then just recently, we came out of a very heavy retrograde season. So, and when I say heavy retrograde season, remember, this started with Venus going retrograde in Leo, overlapping with Mercury going retrograde, overlapping with Saturn going retrograde, Neptune retrograde, like all basically all the planets but Mars retrograde. And so that was tough, especially Venus going retrograde in Leo. A lot of people were like questioning their relationships or partnerships, and that can be career, that can be friendships, that can be love, that can be romance. But even just like at question with all these other retrogrades happening, really going deep and rethinking a lot of big parts of your life and areas of your life. And so, but it was like with these retrogrades, it's hard to move forward. It's like walking through quicksand, or like, I think I made this reference once. If you saw like a Nightmare on Elm Street, when Nancy was climbing up those stairs at the end, and it was like pudding or sticky stuff like that. It kind of felt like that, especially over the summer. It was a fun summer, it was a fun summer, but it was still a lot of like, this isn't happening, and this isn't happening, and this isn't happening. So a lot of like frustrations could have been happening. And then of course after that we have the eclipses. So we just came out of like a really big period, and it's not even just like we just came out of eclipse season. We came out of eclipse season after retrograde season, after the nodal shifts, after major planetary changes. I mean, like, this has been a year. This has been a year. So November is it's not it's not a breeze, okay? But everyone is fired up. So that's the great thing about November. Everyone's going to feel fired up. There's we're I mean, moving into Sagittarius season, right? So it's very fiery. But there is a sense of everyone's going through this new thing in their life. There's like not if you were in this chat, how many, there's 13 people here. If you were in this chat and there's nothing new that you want, or if there's nothing new that's happening in your life, I want you to tell me now. There's not one person where there's something new in an area of your life that you want to change, or has changed, or is on your mind, or could even have suddenly changed because of the eclipse that we had. But again, you're going to feel more of that this week. I already know. I like just being like, I know about this one thing that is going to change for me. I see it coming. I see it coming. I don't know if I'm happy about it, but I'm going with it, and I'm going to see like where it takes me. But let's see. Yeah, everyone's ready for big change. Leslie, you applied for a job last week after your yes, yeah. It went into the office 3 days out of 4. That's awesome. Jen Marie, absolutely. It feels like a ramp up for next year. Like, we're getting a level to take on what's going on next year, kind of like prep mode energy. Yes, yes. Maha, thank you for joining. I love your little ship there. Good morning, Terra ship family. I love that. I didn't even know that. Is that a real emoji that exists? Okay, so everyone is going through change. So that is the big theme of November, is we're coming out of these eclipses with big changes that we want, the big changes that have been happening and now we're adjusting to. Okay, now here's the thing. One thing I want you to know, back to this full moon lunar eclipse that's happening in Taurus. I don't really talk about like chakras too often, and I probably should, because there's a lot that corresponds with a lot of different cards and in tarot and whatnot. But one thing that I think will be really nice for you, I know a lot of people do like full moon rituals, eclipse rituals, manifestation rituals around this time. This full moon lunar eclipse is in Taurus, which is an earth sign. Okay. And so it really is the end of something. Something is ending, and there's this new beginning. And so, with chakras, we have 7 chakras, right? And they're all activated. And I always talk about like, yeah, I really should talk about chakras a little bit more, because they are very relevant. And it's just like a timing issue. Like, I talk so much because there's so much happening sometimes in some of these readings. I can get away. I don't think I've ever done a reading like that's like less than 20 minutes. And I know that like most readers are like 20, 25 minutes, but like there's just, and I know it's because I bring the astrology in that adds a lot of, like a little bit more depth, but I hope it's like, gives like a framework for you. But um I I should talk about chakras more, but with this full moon lunar eclipse, if you're not going to do any sort of ritual, if you're not going to do any sort of like big thing around it, the only thing that I ask you to do is go out in nature, put your feet in sand, put your feet in grass, put your feet in anything, or like take off your shoes and just put your feet and just ground yourself, okay? Because we want to start with the root chakra, all right? And so I really and remember it is like it, the root chakras connect like oh gosh, I really just don't okay, I don't want to anyway. I want you to do that, but I also want you to remember your heart chakra is green. Okay, remember the heart chakra is green, and that's nature there, right? That's a reason why we're all connected to nature. It is green is all about growth, right? And when it comes to nature, so um that'll really help for a lot of y'all to just center yourself. I think it'll help with like a lot of the even like how people talk about like aligning the chakras and balancing the chakras. I think that will be very nice. If you're not going to do anything, I think it's just going to be nice to just center yourself. Okay, so keep that in mind, and I think that would be very helpful. And again, it just feels good too. It just feels good, right? To connect with nature. Um, which is hard for me to do here in Brooklyn, but I find my ways. I got my secrets. I got my secrets. Um, let's see. Anyone else? Okay, so yeah, Lorena, great. Lots of changes coming at the end of the month. You're ready. Pauline, you say this year was bigger. Experienced Dark Night of the Soul earlier this year. You just moved. A lot of moving. Yes, that's going to be a thing. This energy is making you sleepy. Well, it's really draining, right? And it's going to get a little bit more with all this activity in Scorpio. Just be prepared. So that's why you want to keep your energy levels high. So I you're like, no, I'm not pregnant. That's so funny. Um, but yeah, I should kind of like incorporate chakras a little bit more. Um, but yeah, it is a thing. So November is going to be I'm going to try to do this without repeating things I said in the read in your actual forecast for November, but it really is a month where Neptune is really activated. Okay, Neptune is very active, and so as you know, and this is interesting. Every month is different, right? Neptune, all about imagination, creativity, your dreams, whatever. So this is the first thing I want you to know. Neptune is very active in November, so you will feel like a lot of sparks with creativity and your imagination, imagining what you want for yourself for the future. But even just the right side of your brain just going. Which is really great because it's not just creativity that when I say creativity, a lot of people just immediately associate it with like artists or like filmmakers or whatever. Creativity is like, come on, break it down. It's create, right? So creating something for yourself and really imagining what you want for yourself. It's also being creative in terms of like problem solving, right? So finding solutions to certain situations that you are in and whatnot. So really will have a lot of impact on you this month. Neptune is in Pisces. It is retrograde, but it really does give you it helps you really tap into your spirituality. Okay. So that's going to be a nice thing. But there are some days where it's like on the other side, Neptune can be, depending on the aspect, it can be like foggy. It can make things a little foggy for you, unclear for you, a little like fantasy versus reality, right? That can be a thing. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to break it down week by week. I'm going to tell you the best days of the month. Okay. Now, I I'm praying for a job change. Let me just do a little quick check at the questions here. I see more people have joined. Jenry, you say this is a genuine question. What about if we live in a colder area this time of year? Chicago area is back to being wacky weather. Yeah, I would just you can even here's something well, I would tell you to go, I don't know if you have like a backyard or something. I mean, you don't have to be out there like forever. You can put on some, like, even just wear socks too, but like just as long well, I mean, you really want to just use your bare feet. Um if you have like no grass or sand, one thing that you can do is like rocks. I do this a lot. You know how like there's always rock gardens when you go to like spas or even like wellness retreats? Well, it's like a foot massage, right? Like there's little stones, so there's little pebbles when you step on them and you go one by one. And it's like acupressure, right? Or like they're connected to the pleasure center of your brain. Like that's why foot massages feel so good, because it anyway. You could also do that if that's like a thing for you. But bundle up and just take off your shorts or shorts, sorry, your socks for a little bit, and then and see what can happen. I don't Is it really that cold? I feel like I want to Google how cold it is in Chicago now. And it's just for next weekend. Next weekend. Um okay, so let's see. Let me get back to okay, so remember, the first week of November, we still have all that activity in Scorpio, and it's intensifying now, right? With Mars in Scorpio and the Sun in Scorpio. That in itself is just like major, okay? But remember, we have Mercury in the mix as well, all right? So being very direct, knowing what you want, really that investigative energy that I've been talking about, really looking at all corners of your life and really, finding that passion, being passionate about your passions. I do like the way that we kick off November with, on November 2nd, the sun opposite Jupiter. This is a great day. Just think about expansion in, like, positive areas of your life. You got to know where Jupiter is in your sign, so everyone is going to feel it differently. But in for the collective, right? It is just such a great day. I really love this day. And then one thing that I didn't really talk about in the monthly forecast that I probably should have, um, on the day after, Venus is going to oppose Neptune. And so remember, I said Neptune is very active this month, and you're going to see I'm going to bring up Neptune a lot. But this is just a day where I want you to be like really realistic about yourself. This is when your imagination can just go like, I'm going to buy, the state of Montana. Do you know what I mean? Like that, like, be realistic. Obviously that's like a far-fetched, but just like be realistic, like honest with yourself at this time. And you may already be, because Venus is in Virgo, right? Like very analytical at this time as well. So there could be this tug of war, like again, between like fantasy, reality, what you want for yourself. So keep that in mind. But then Saturn this is the big thing of the week. Saturn goes direct, okay, on November 4th. You're going to start feeling it. You're going to start feeling it. Yeah, responsibilities. Y'all are going to get really busy. And this is for every sign. And Saturn's going direct. It's a big thing, okay? And as you know, it affects every sign differently. And I talk about that in your forecast. So, for even Gene, for Geminis, Saturn is in your 10th house of career. So you're going to see a lot of movement in career now, because Saturn is finally awake, and Saturn is like, but it is like the planet of like tough love. It's this but Saturn, we're talking about karma here, right? And so it rewards you through all the challenges or any hardships or anything. Like if things are really, the responsibilities, as long as you can handle it and take them on, You're going to be good. You're going to be fine. But this is for every sign. Every sign, Saturn going direct is going to affect every sign differently and in a very different area of your life. Okay? Keep that in mind. And then who's got daylight savings? That's the 5th. Don't forget, we're going back in time. On November 5th, you got to turn back time for an hour. Is that, I should have Googled that. Is that just US and Canada? No, it's not, right? It's everywhere. Or is it? I don't know. Um some questions. Let me see. Gene, you're taking a big risk, change in your career. That's amazing. Being excited and nervous at the same time, finally tapping more and more into your creative side. Oh yeah, quadruple Gemini. That's amazing. That's good. Everything that you're doing now is leading up to what's going to happen for you in next year. Like next year, Gemini's, I'm not even joking, like gangbusters. And it's not even next year. It's Uranus has been in Taurus since 2018. Okay. Uranus is finally moving out of Taurus and into Gemini. Okay. So that's something else that's happening for Geminis. Like, just listen, like I think I'm going to do another like year ahead for everybody. So I'll talk more about that. But so, okay. The second week of November. Listen, on the sticks. Anybody here for like? Does anybody come to the readings like for like sex advice? Sorry, like romance and sex. I like this is like is that like I know I bring it up sometimes because there's uh a lot of times like there's so much sexual energy that comes from the spreads, and I'm just like, whoa. And sometimes I try to be like a little bit more, but I'm just like, we're all adults here. We can talk about this. It's like a thing and whatever. But it is mark if you want to mark this in your calendar, okay? Venus trining Pluto. All right. So if you are single, by the way, and you're looking for romance, this is a big, it's just really, this is a day. It's a powerful day. Let's just keep it that way. It's a powerful day. It's a good day. It's a great day. A lot of like desires at play. So even if you're not here for like love and romance and like sexual activity or whatever, remember both Venus and Pluto, like money and finances is a big thing for that. And trines, as you know, are very auspicious placements. So this is a big one. Okay, it's a big one. Let's see. Oh yeah, that's right. You do have in the UK. Y'all have daylight savings. Who's talking about Jumanji? Oh, Jen Marie, if it's going to the 50s, you can do that for like 5 minutes. Oh, okay. Then I just read the rest of what you said. Maybe not. Maybe you okay. Don't. Don't. Then that's don't. All right? Don't. I'm gonna leave that up to you. I'm gonna leave that up to you. But it's just something to keep in mind for, anytime you want to have like a little bit of an alignment, is anytime. Okay. So if you do go on vacation or whatnot, the over Thanksgiving or Christmas or the holidays or New Year's or whatever, where it's sunny and warm, keep that in mind. Okay. Um, okay, good. So a lot of people are here for romance and love. Okay. Um, Lorena, you said, where should you look for how Saturn will affect us? Well, you should look for my reading that's going to drop on Wednesday. All right, I'll let you know. I'll let you know. But yeah, so November 6th, if romance isn't a thing, money might be on your mind. Okay. It's just gonna happen. You're just gonna think about money. Okay. Again, this aspect, everyone's gonna feel it differently. But the fact that Mercury is trining, wait for it, Neptune on that day. Yep. 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 You could have like these crazy, great ideas about money or love or romance, or even being imaginative when it comes to like romance in like the after hours and stuff. Just keep that in mind. Okay, keep that in mind. But there is it's a big day. It's a big day. Um, let's see. Oh, and hello. This is when things get really great. November 8th. Venus moves into Libra. Leslie, you'll love that. Venus, your ruling planet, is moving into your sign. So this is what we call domicile, right? Like when the planet moves into its native like sign, right? Because it's at home there. It loves it there. It's really nice. Exaltations are also really great too. And I'll talk. I always bring that up when that happens. But Venus is finally leaving Virgo, and as you know, if you've been listening to your readings, Venus is at its fall in Virgo, so it's just could have been like a little like more thinking about things. Now you're just in it. Like your heart is just the things like it's all about matters of the heart at this point. Venus in Libra is such a great placement, so everyone's just gonna feel it. It's like you're gonna feel good about things. You're gonna feel good about where you're at. Venus in Libra is such an amazing placement. So again, I talk about it, it's going to be different for everybody. Um, and that's something that I'll talk about more in like the weekly forecasts. But that's just absolutely wonderful. I'm side-eyeing the content, the messages here. Um, you wouldn't say no to a date night. Yeah, go out, have a date night. Have a really fun. It'll be a fun date night. It'll be a fun, very fun date night. Um, okay, so the next thing is big thing happening here is Mercury is moving is moving into Sagittarius. So Mercury is leaving Scorpio, moving into Sagittarius. Now, does anyone have an idea of what that's going to feel like? No. Okay. So Mercury, uh, I actually talk about this a lot more in your forecast because it is a big deal. Mercury is a planet of communication. It's a messenger planet. It's all about logic as well. So here's the thing. Mercury is it's in its detriment in Sagittarius. So it's not a bad thing. A lot of people, there may be some like astrologers that are just like, watch out, but I like it. I like Mercury and Sagittarius. Mercury and Sagittarius is kind of like goofy. It's like being silly. It's like not as serious as like Mercury and Scorpio. And so if you there's more of a lightness to it, but it is still a little it's like what is going on? Okay? Um it's it's like things can be a little confusing for you with Mercury in Sagittarius, but at least you're being productive, okay? Um, if you think about Mercury, Mercury wants logic, Sagittarius wants freedom. So there's that disconnect. But it's still like I like it. Uh it's all about like these big ideas that you may have, these like hugely like grandiose, like even being like it's kind of like a restless placement too, but um I talk more about it in your forecast. It is oh gosh, I don't want to repeat what I said in your forecasts, so or in your readings. It's a fun loving placement. Let's keep it that way, but it's just like it's just like a little scattered and it's not organized, okay? Um and I want you to be very careful on November 10th, including you, Leslie, including you, Jean, including anyone here, anyone that's listening in. I want you to be careful on the 10th because Mercury, like I just explained what Mercury in Sagittarius is, right? Now, the day after that, on November 10th, Mercury will square Saturn. Okay. don't sign any contracts. Please mark it in your calendar, November 10th, okay? If you do, just be very smart about reading the fine print, about making decisions, about negotiating things, okay? So you want to avoid that. And I don't even think the 10th is, let me pull up my calendar. Um, yeah, it's going to be a Friday. So you can wait. You can have the weekend, right? And then you'll be fine. Um, and the one of the other reasons why this is so we're going to talk about more. I'm about to tell you about one of the most challenging days. That's going to be the 11th. So Mars is going to oppose Uranus on the 11th, and Mars is hangry. I said in one of the signs, I made a reference. Mars is like at this point opposing Uranus. Mars is that person. Like, have you ever seen? I just got like introduced to that show Survivor, and I've been watching it, and I think it's funny. I like to, and I like, after a lot because after I do my full-time job and then I do your readings and then I cook. I'm so I can't think for the rest. So it's so nice to have just watch this fun show. But I actually analyze it, I pick it apart. I think more about the process of like the producers and how they're editing it rather than because that's more compelling to me because that's going to give you an indication of who's going to be cut. It's really interesting. So I actually probably should because I'm trying to just like decompress. But anyway, I'm in Gemini rising and I'm in Aquarius, so my mind is always active anyway, and a Virgo moon. So that analytical part. But 11th, November 11th, Mars is opposing Uranus. So this is going to be one of the hardest days of the month. Okay, well, one of the most challenging days. And the reference I was going to make is that um, think of that one contestant who's sent to Exile Island, okay? And he's there there for 2 days and they have no food, they have no contact with anyone, they have no shelter. But then imagine the producers forgot that they were there. This contestant's gonna be angry, really hangry because he hasn't eaten. They didn't give him any food. And so he's swimming back to shore and he's mad. He's mad. And he's coming back and he's got a lot to say to the producers who left him there after 3-4 days. So that's my analogy for November 11th. Mars opposing Uranus. Remember, Uranus is a planet of surprises. Mars is still in Scorpio at this point. Remember, that's a very aggressive placement. It can be so there. Just know that something unexpected could happen on November 11th that could be some sort of conflict. Again, it's all going to depend on where these planets sit. And of course, I talk about it more in your forecasts. And I will, in the weeklies. So yeah. You have to keep your mouth. I have to keep my mouth shut. Leslie, for what day? Oh, for the Mercury square Saturn. No, this is just more. It's we're talking about Mercury here. So I mean, we're talking about like it's kind. It'll feel it. Well, it doesn't. It won't feel like a retrograde, but it'll have like the same kind of like precautions of that. Uh, oh my gosh, y'all are hilarious. Jen Marie said your Gemini hubby sells his condo, has a sign on November 10th. Listen, it's fine that you do these things. Just read the fine print. That's all I'm saying. Okay. With these squares, they're just like, like combat. Just think of like two warriors. Just anyway. So I'm not saying, and especially because it's not a retrograde. If this was a retrograde, Mercury retrograde, I would say you better tell him to wait until. Do you know what I mean? But because this is just a square, just be smart, okay? Be smart about the decisions you make, negotiating things, the things that you say, right? Because Mercury is all about communication as well. But it's squaring Saturn. Saturn brings this like commitment, long-term energy with it. So I would advise to wait, and I would like do it the day before or wait until after the weekend. I would advise it, but you can still do it. Just be very careful. Just be very careful, okay? About it. About it. All right. Leslie, no, you better not hibernate, okay? No hibernation. I don't want anybody hibernating. When you hibernate, nothing, you can't do that. You can have moments. You can have moments where it's just like, okay, I'm just gonna like really just step away from everybody. I need time alone. I need to think things through. Then yeah. But don't hibernate like a bear for like the entire season, okay? Um um Marie, you say I don't need any more bad days. It's been a bad year for Aries. It's been a challenging year. I'm not gonna lie, but it's also been like think about the year you had before. It was so great. So it's we have the shifts in your sign, but then there was a lot of stuff happening with cardinal signs. So this is life, right? There are bad days every month. Like it's getting to a point where you are comfortable with the bad days that are going to happen, because like I always say, we don't live in a Disney movie. Like there are going to be bad days that do happen. It's just how you approach them. And again, like really grounding yourself, really like being in touch with your higher self. Like intuition is I talk about all the time. Intuition, gratitude. Like when you're like in like when something bad happens to me, and believe it or not, Maria, they do. I have a lot of things, like I have like tower moments like every week, but it's really like I'm okay. I'm just like, okay, well, I gotta deal with this. And so as long as you don't let any of these like bad days like defeat you, you're gonna be fine. You're gonna be absolutely fine. So it is a matter of it's your mindset too. So just know that like there will never be in the history for the timeline of this earth, there will never be a month where there will not be like a challenging day. Everyone's going to go through some sort of challenge, like, and that's how you grow, that's how you evolve, that's how you become a better version of yourself. And it's really like if you can get it into a mindset and like just spiritually, physically, emotionally, mentally, like prepared for like anything that comes your way, you're going to be able to just it's going to be like I said, water off a duck's back, or just you just being like Supergirl, where you just stand there and, like, people are shooting at you, the bullets are just popping off your body like that. Do you know what I mean? Maria, where are you? Where'd you go? Does that make sense? Okay. Okay, so let's see. So yeah, just be, you like I always just say, just be chill, because I feel like when I just say that, like people are just like, okay, like I'll just be chill. So I know it's so like basic or whatever, but I think that it is actually effective. So again, it's how you handle it, all right? And it's really learning from it too. That's the biggest thing. Learning from it is always important. Okay. I wouldn't have a situation where you're just like, if you have a really, like, I had some really, challenging moments this past week. And so uh it they were building up and building up, and it got to a point where I was feeling like really low on energy, like really just like stressed, and I had to just remove myself from like everything for a minute and just like regain my energy, regain, like crystals really help. I think I talk about that all the time. I have so many here, but it's just knowing that bad days are will happen, but as long as you are, again, as long as you can handle it, like, and be aware of, like, you can handle anything, right? It's all about your mindset, then you're gonna be good. You're gonna be good. Okay, so now on the 13th, y'all, on November 13th, we have a new moon in Scorpio. This is really big. Mark it in your calendar. And I want you to know this new moon in Scorpio, remember, at this point, we're still in Scorpio season. We and so the sun is in Scorpio, and then Mars is in Scorpio. So this is going to be an intense new moon. Now, I do have some news that you may not want to hear, but I'm going to tell you anyway. I like this new moon in Scorpio. I do not like the aspect that's happening during this new moon in Scorpio. The sun is actually going to oppose Uranus again. The sun opposing Uranus coming just a few days after Mars opposing Uranus. So again, something unexpected could arise. It could be something that's not favorable. But again, it's just how you handle it. And it's going to be different for everybody. Everyone's going to feel uh every sign. It's going to affect every sign differently. Okay. For me, I already know what it is. Again, this new moon in Scorpio is definitely for me. I know what's going to happen, because right now, for me being an Aquarius, that's my 10th house of career. For me being a Gemini rising, that is my sixth house of everyday activities and work and whatnot. Even if you want to throw in me being a Virgo moon, that is my third house of communication. And so I'm in the process of doing a lot of like hiring and for a couple positions and bringing people on board, and at it just timing it out. This is where there's a couple new projects that I'll be launching, and at the same time hiring some new people, and it'll whittling it down to the finalists around that time. So I know this is going to be like really tense for me, but there could be something surprising that happens, like maybe one of the I don't know, applicants that I really liked decides to like drop out. And that actually happened once. So I was hiring for a position. When was this? It was like September, and there was someone that I hired. We signed the contracts and everything. Went through 3 interviews. Like, he took the test, everything, like flying colors. The day before his first day, he sent me an email saying, I just took on another position. I'm so sorry. Thank you for your time, whatever. And I was like, ah. And so I had to do. I don't know if anyone's ever hired someone like in your company. It's so time consuming, and you have to do it on top of your other other responsibilities. So I already know how this is going to play out for me. But again, it'll affect everyone differently. And it really is, like, for some of y'all, it may be like a 1 in terms of this surprise, right? And I'm going to put it in air quotes because sometimes some of these Uranus oppositions are so just like not even work. They're just like, what? That was it. But then for some, it may be a little bit stronger. Okay. Now, the reason why I think it may be a little strong for a lot of people is because it's coming right after Mars opposing Uranus. So you see that back to back. It's like Surprising is hello, Star. Oh, Star, thank you. So amazing. You're amazing. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Sam, you said it's been a roller coaster ride of a year for the Cancer, Sun, Gemini rising. Welcome to planet Earth. Your intuition is broken. Oh, come on. No, it's not. No, it's not. You missed the first. You just joined, so read. I just talked about what you should do for that. So watch the beginning of this. Watch the beginning of this. Oh my gosh, I'm already at an hour. Okay, so anyone else? I know Cancer's supposed to be intuitive. That's so funny. Y'all are so intuitive, but you're also like really so nurturing. I love Cancers. Carla, you're exhausted. Taurus, yep. Taurus, Sun, Gemini, rising, and Cancer, Moon. Oh yeah, of course of course you're exhausted. But remember, with you being a Taurus, like there is definitely something coming to some sort of comment. Well, actually, you being a Taurus and Gemini rising, oh yeah, there is. Just wait. I feel like you're gonna feel like with this new full moon lunar eclipse coming up toward the end of for next weekend, there's going to be some big like sigh of relief for you. Okay. And it can be on that day. It can be even like, you may feel it a few days before. You may feel it like a week after, 2 weeks after. Give it time. Give it time. And always have patience. Okay. Patience is a virtue. um, okay. So so you all know about that new moon in Scorpio now. Okay. Um, And then one of the most beautiful aspects that's happening is on the 15th, Mercury sextiling Venus. Definitely put that in your calendar. That's just like your spirits will be high. Like it's such a beautiful aspect. It's a beautiful aspect. Mercury and Venus are like the closest. It, it it's so the reason why I like this is it's coming right after that Sun opposite Uranus. Um, so it's almost like anything that happens around that time, and I'm not saying anything bad is going to happen. It's just something surprising may happen, and it may be a little like you may feel a little pressure, you may feel a little tension, like whoa, like. But again, it really depends on where it falls in your chart. It really it is certain areas of your life, and I just gave you an example of like me, like kind of already preparing for it, knowing what may happen around that time. But with it being surprises, like I may not know, all right, but I already feel like I know what that tension is going to be. Mark 17th on your calendar, okay, everybody, November 17th. This is, in my opinion, one of the best days of the month, okay? And circle it in red in your calendar because not only will Mars trine Neptune, the sun is trining Neptune too. So you see how Neptune is really coming out this month and really like at play here. So this is like again creativity, sparks of creativity, your imagination going wild. Like it's like you could be the next Steve Jobs. Like at this point, like you are really. I mean, it's a very special day, and the reason why it's such a special day is because the sun is going to conjunct Mars. Now, I didn't want to say this in this overview because it's something that I talk about in every sign. Okay, this for your readings this week. It is so, but I feel like you need to like know this and put it in your calendar. But you know how we've had a lot of Mercury Kazimis? We have a Mars Kazimi now. And Mars is all about that drive and that ambition and power. And Kazimis are when the planet are like in the heart of the sun. It's just like this. It's a major alignment. You're just gonna feel absolutely like driven. It's like you're gonna feel on top of the world. And there's just this happening. All of this on the 17th. Like wow, big day, big day. Okay. So that's the third week. of November. Does anybody have any questions? Anything that I can answer? I'm gonna look at see. Um, Jen, you say the Scorpio rising and sun and Pisces moon has been waiting for this day. Leslie, give you the job. I don't think you want it. I don't think you would want it. Sim, thank you so much. Jen Marie, yeah, it was rough. It was very rough. Um, and it's so funny because it's so this has been it's honestly like it's been like a 4-month process because then like we decided that okay, we don't the person that I'm hiring for this position is we actually now want that person to be in London. And so now I'm interviewing all these people in London, and I'm not to like whatever, but some of the accents are so strong when I get on these Zoom calls, like to interview them. It's like, can you repeat yourself? Like, wait, especially the ones in Liverpool. I don't know why. Is that like a thing, Leslie? People in Liverpool have like really strong accents because it was like a common thing, and I was like, um, but yeah, it is interesting. It's interesting. Um because I also learned that, and here's my big lesson of the month, which is, well, maybe not a big lesson, but my a lesson of the month. I Did you know that if you live in the US, and this is a cultural thing, if you live in the US, it's almost like common, I wouldn't say common sense, but common knowledge. When you have a job interview, you send the person who interviewed you a follow-up email, like a thank you email, right? Like, thank you for taking the time to, have this interview with me, blah, 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 blah. In the UK and in Europe, I learned it's not a thing at all. In Spain or Germany or UK. And so when I was doing these interviews and nobody was sending me, because remember, I'm hiring in the UK, and nobody was sending me like follow-up email, like thank you emails, I was putting them all in the no bin. I'm like, bummer, because that's what I'm looking for. Like, because this is a communications role. And so the interviews were so good, but then if they didn't send me a follow-up email, like a thank you email, they automatically went into the no bin, right? Like, no, I'm not hiring this person. And then I found out that it just wasn't customary in the UK to do that. And or even Spain, because I'm hiring in Spain, and it just y'all don't like, they don't do that. So I had to like go back and like find the people and put them back in and then send them the task. It's a funny cultural thing. I don't know. Anyway, this is me just talking way too much about nothing that and matters. But I feel like y'all are my crew here, so my squad. Does anybody have anything? um, Danielle, you're happy this year is closing. You're not sure what next year will look like, but you're pleased to see how you've grown and faced many challenges. You feel blessed. I love that. Yeah, it's such a great way to just have that positive outlook for next year. Next year, I always say, like, at the end, like if I do a monthly forecast, I always say like, well, next month is gonna be very different from the previous month. And I keep it very vague, but yeah, 2024 is going to be very different from 2023. Very, very different. Mars Kazimi, Leslie, you have your own dialect, different breed. Newcastle is the hardest. Karen, okay, so you said, what are examples of things we can take advantage of that great day on the 17th? I feel like just I think about Just watch your what sign are you? Watch your forecast. I mean, so your readings for November are coming out on Wednesday. If I'm on track, if I get pushed back, maybe they will be Thursday, but I'm pretty sure they will be Wednesday. But it's you're a Scorpio. Oh gosh, wow. Yeah. All of this is happening in your sign. So it really depends. What's your rising? You're just gonna feel a huge surge of energy, and you're gonna feel like, you are, you ever see that movie Gremlins when they all like or maybe that's not a good analogy. Okay, maybe it is when they all like, anyway, like when you're just gonna feel a surge of energy and just like, and your mind is you're gonna be, it's almost like, I'm not gonna lie, it may even feel like very psychedelic for some people. It's such a great, great day. Okay. It's a great day. Um, so you are Leo rising. Okay. Um, well, if you are a Leo rising, there's a lot of stuff may happen around home around that time. You may get really creative about like home stuff that your domestic, because that's your domestic sector, right? If you're Leo rising, so moving, maybe thinking about moving, maybe think about renovating, maybe thinking about doing something with family or your children, thinking outside the box, or like things like that, like but it's like thinking and then just putting it into action like right away. But it's, again, it's gonna be a big day, and I'll talk more about it in the thing because I see that I'm over my time limit here. So week 4, oh, I love, okay, y'all, the 20th and the 21st, the Sun and Mars will sextile Pluto. So this is, again, I'm just gonna say, this is where you're just gonna feel very empowered. You're just gonna feel very empowered. And remember, this is coming right after the Mars Kazemi. So just hold on to that energy. All right. Hold on to that energy. And then we officially move into Sagittarius season, which I'll talk more about when we get to Sagittarius season. And it is going to be, like I said, I like December. Um, if you want to go ahead and do it, know that we will have a Mercury retrograde toward the end of December. Okay. This is over the holidays, New Year's, like, so keep that in mind. Okay. I did talk about that in my 3 month ahead forecast. Um, and then Mars enters Sagittarius. So now you see that we have Mercury in Sagittarius, Sun in Sagittarius, Mars in Sagittarius. So it really we'll talk about that, but know that this Sagittarius season is going to be like very Sagittarius. And Sagittarius rules the ninth house, which is, spirituality, which is really great. But it's also like it's the adventurous, explorative, like Sagittarius is just like, they love traveling, they love meeting people, they love exploring things, they're daring, they're fun loving. And don't forget, Jupiter is the ruler of Sagittarius. So it's great, but it's just like it could, a lot of people could feel like intensity around that too. But I really like that. But again, we'll talk more about Sagittarius season. Um, and then we come to the full moon in Gemini on the 27th. Okay. That's gonna be and so every Gemini here is gonna no, Gene, you're gonna feel that. Okay. Um, Sherry, how funny. You just said, do you see anything major happening on November 27th? Well, yeah, a full moon in Gemini. Oh my goodness, Sherry, you have dreams of it, you keep seeing it in your dreams, 11/27. That is literally the day of the full moon in Gemini. So it looks like something may happen for you around that time. That's really interesting. That's so cool. Um, Interesting. Hmm. Samantha, best of luck finding that. Thank you so much. Carla, Weir Squad. Thanks. I love hearing that. um, you're writing it. Thank you. That's so funny. Um, okay, so yes, it is going to be like He-Man. I have the power. Absolutely, that day, the 17th. Um, okay, so Sherry, keep that in mind. Something major is going to happen. Now, here's the thing about this full moon in Gemini. Okay, and then I'm going to wrap this up. Mercury will square. Wait for it. Neptune. So full moons like illuminate things, right? And they can be very emotional, but it is like something concluding. Think about what happened for you back in June 17th when we had that corresponding new moon in Gemini. But at that same time, which is why this may be a little bit more significant, is because around that time, that is when Saturn went retrograde. And so I would keep that in mind. There's got to be a lot of things revealed, but they may be a little foggy, like not a lot of clarity around this day, only because Mercury is going to square Neptune. So someone could say something that is just like, you're like, what? Like, what are you talking about? So it's just like a day where you just want to know the facts. Okay. Just, you want to know the facts. But I feel like there's going to be a lot illuminated. And of course, again, like everyone's going to feel it differently. Um, but I do have to tell you, as we enter Sagittarius season, it may be, it's not the smoothest. Okay. So if you're here, let me see. If you live in the US, I'm just gonna put it out there. Um, this is the week of Thanksgiving. And so as we move into Sagittarius season, the sun is going to square Saturn and then Mars is going to square Saturn. And this is happening over Thanksgiving weekend. Okay. And if you're not here in the US, this is the 23rd to the 25th. So these squares can be like, things can be a little like, can be a little like something might test you. So just think of this as a universe giving you a test, and you're like, I'm going to pass it. I'm going to pass it with flying colors. I have to do that a lot. Sometimes when I see certain friends or even certain family members who have like really strong personalities, and I have to just smile and grin and bear it. And I'm like, oh, or if they get really angry and worked up about something, I just have to like, and then like, like very subtly change the subject. Even if like, and they can, it isn't, I'm not gonna lie. Something may test you around this time. It is not the smoothest transition to Sagittarius season. Just to let you know. I can, yeah. So, let me see. I want to see what Maria has to say about that. Maria, so these are days where just remember you can handle it, okay? Because I know these would be considered, like bad days, but just as long as you let your intuition guide you, as long as you're just like, you know what, this isn't even, this isn't even, I'm not going to let this bring my energy levels down, right? Then you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. You're going to be a-okay. A-okay. All right. Anyone? So 1127. Yeah, that's so crazy. That is so crazy. Sherry, I really want to know about your dreams on 1127. Well, I want to know what happens for you on 1127. I mean, like literally the day of the full moon in Gemini. If you've been having dreams about it, that's kind of cool. Jen, you kept dreaming about Mars crashing into Earth in a beautiful way before he entered Scorpio. Definitely something good is happening, but going to be groundbreaking. I love that. That's awesome. You'll be sleeping in from your turkey coma. Y'all, so that's November. Remember to switch your clocks back an hour, okay? On the 5th. That's the most important thing, okay? You don't want to be an hour off from everything, all right? Nobody wants to be an hour off, right? So that's the most important thing. But yeah, November, as you can see, is going to be a lot happening, but a lot. There's like equally, there's some great days, as I've just pointed out. There are days to, don't sign contracts. There's a lot of big days of empowerment, but then there are some squares that are just going to be like, right. But just, always always just like take those deep breaths, right? Take those deep breaths and you will be absolutely fine. And that really, actually, that really helps. If you take back to the chakras, right? You take deep breaths right from your diaphragm. I mean, that is I talk about this all the time. Like, trust your gut instincts. Your gut is what produces the serotonin, and it like taking deep breaths. Like, that really helps. If you ever find yourself in a testing situation or a challenging situation or where you're stressed out, you got it, taking deep breaths really do help. Not to the point where you're like gonna pass out, but like, like controlled. All right. Does anybody have any questions about anything? I'm gonna put this up. I gotta go. I have to go get lunch. I haven't eaten all day. But your forecasts are gonna go up for November for I don't know if you can see my dog like sleeping. Oh wait. Do you see she's always next to me. I know no one even brought her up, but I just wanted to show you. There's Ruby sleeping. She's always next to me. I know she hasn't appeared in a lot of the readings, but hopefully soon she will get back in the habit of doing it. It's only because like all this, like I think I've said it in the last one, like I've just gotten really busy at work, and so I've had to do a lot of because I do your readings after work, and I have to do it a lot later in the day now, so it's not at that time after we go for a WALK where she just sits. So she's always up here with me, but that the time that I do your forecasts or your ratings are not at the time when she's up here, if that makes any sense on the table. So that's just anyway. So yeah, maybe so once things calm down at work and whatnot. By the way, just to let you know, this AC is coming out. It's getting to that point. I know that there's a couple people, and then this is it for because this is I'm going to post this, and a lot of I leave my window open, okay, I've gotten more comments about loving the windows open. You see there's so many synchronicities. Like when I say something, something happens, and then you see even like it's so interesting. Okay, so I always like to feel like my readings are a personal reading. So it gives like a sense of place, but I know that there's some people that do not like it. But it's going to be open. It's going to be open. There may be some times where I'll leave that plant up there, but I got to take that AC out. I need that sunlight. I need that extra light. I only have very few windows in this room. Let's see what we've got here. Oh my gosh, Jean. Thank you so much. That's you're so amazing. Y'all are amazing. it's so I love doing these. I love like talking to y'all. It's or typing with y'all. Gene, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. And I'm very excited for you for your next big adventure. Oh, you're y'all are so amazing. Gene, thanks so much. Yeah, I'm excited to see my parents. We're actually that's what I have to do now is like I'm planning our trip and for Thanksgiving and stuff. And it's just like, oh, it's just so hard to plan because we're not gonna go. It's not like me going to their house. Like we want to get like go to Florida or something. So that's it's just it's so much planning. It's so much planning. I need to. Oh, Amy, thank you so much. You're amazing too. Gosh. Oh, and Pound, you're British too, or not Brit, but like UK. Well, I guess that's British. All right, y'all. Thanks so much. So your readings will go up on Wednesday for November. They're long. Some of y'all, I think I went over an hour for I can't remember. Was it Scorpio? It was either Scorpio or Aquarius or I don't remember, but they're long. So yeah, it's the same as it's like 45 minutes to an hour. Some of them like are a little bit shorter because it's like you're like really good. There wasn't anything that I needed. It was like this month is like just is a breeze for you. It was like, yeah. So, but they are to the 1 hour mark. But just keep that in mind. I hope you mark down these dates. And again, in the readings, I will talk about, I talk about like a little bit more in depth and in what we just discussed here. And then of course, obviously in the weekly readings, I go a lot more in depth. But everyone expect big changes. Okay. Everyone, that was the most common theme for everyone's readings. These new beginnings. Just expect big changes. And it's something you would expect anyway after eclipses. That's why I'm not like giving anything away. Yeah, you would just expect changes to happen after eclipse season. So Sim, thank you so much. I will give her a little snack. That's so sweet. Y'all are so amazing. All right, y'all. I'm gonna let you go. Thanks so much for being here. I will see you next month, but I'll let you know about that guest speaker when if it does come through. Carla, thank you so much. You're amazing. All y'all are so amazing. You're gonna make me cry. I actually almost cried in one of the readings. I'm not gonna tell you which one, but I got like really emotional. So I'm not gonna do it, but I'm not gonna cry. But maybe in one of these readings I eventually will. But y'all are about to. So I'm gonna say bye. Thank you so much, y'all. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I'll see you soon. Okay. Thanks, y'all. All right. Bye bye.